Why your 60s can become the most expensive decade of your life. Most people think your 60s should finally be the decade when money becomes simpler. You may have spent decades building a career, you may have paid off a mortgage, your children may have become independent, retirement may feel close enough to imagine instead of something that belongs in the distant future, so the assumption seems obvious. After 60, financial stress should begin fading away, but the real answer is far stranger. For many people, your 60s quietly become one of the most expensive decades of your entire life. Not because of reckless spending, not because of one disastrous investment. Instead, the danger often arrives disguised as ordinary life. A home that suddenly needs repairs, a health problem that insurance does not completely cover, helping adult children during difficult times, supporting aging parents, replacing an old car. Preparing for retirement while still paying bills that never seem to disappear. Why does this happen when your earning years are nearly over? The answer begins long before retirement. Your brain evolved to solve immediate survival problems, not to prepare for decades of life after work. For nearly all of human history, reaching old age was far less common than it is today. Your ancestors rarely needed to plan for 20 or 30 years without hunting, gathering, or farming. Evolution rewarded surviving today, not carefully budgeting for a future that few individuals ever experienced. That ancient wiring still influences modern financial behavior. Your brain naturally pays more attention to today's needs than tomorrow's uncertainties. Psychologists call this present bias. It simply means immediate rewards feel more valuable than future benefits, even when waiting would clearly produce better outcomes. One famous demonstration came from psychologist Walter Mischel and the marshmallow experiment. Children faced a simple choice: eat one marshmallow immediately or wait to receive two later. Although retirement planning is far more complicated than candy, the underlying principle remains remarkably similar. Delayed rewards require constant self-control because your brain keeps whispering that today's comfort matters more. Now imagine repeating that choice for 40 years. A slightly nicer vacation, a larger home, more expensive hobbies, small upgrades that seem harmless. Each decision feels reasonable on its own, yet together they quietly shape the financial reality that arrives decades later. Another discovery helps explain why this pattern becomes even stronger over time. Behavioral economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky showed that your brain does not evaluate money objectively. Instead, it constantly compares gains and losses relative to what feels normal. This became known through prospect theory. Suppose your income gradually increased throughout your career. Your lifestyle probably increased alongside it. Better restaurants slowly became ordinary. Premium subscriptions stopped feeling luxurious. New technology became expected instead of exciting. Vacations quietly became more elaborate. Your brain adapted to every improvement until yesterday's luxury became today's necessity. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Human beings rapidly adjust to improved circumstances. Satisfaction fades surprisingly quickly because your brain constantly resets its expectations. That creates a hidden retirement problem. If your lifestyle quietly expanded over decades, reducing expenses later can feel emotionally painful even when it makes financial sense. Cutting spending no longer feels like removing luxuries, it feels like giving up necessities. Your brain interprets the change as a loss. Losses hurt far more than equivalent gains feel rewarding. Kahneman's research repeatedly demonstrated that people generally experience the pain of losing something much more intensely than the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. Could that explain why downsizing becomes so difficult? Many people keep larger homes than they truly need because the house represents memories, identity, and stability. Selling it feels like losing part of life itself. Yet maintaining the property often becomes increasingly expensive through taxes, maintenance, insurance, and repairs. Then another challenge quietly appears. Healthcare costs often rise precisely when employment income begins slowing down. Your ancestors certainly experienced illness, but they never faced modern medical systems requiring long-term financial planning. Today's advances allow people to live longer than ever before, but longer lives also create longer periods of financial responsibility. That combination surprises many households. Living longer is wonderful. Paying for additional decades requires preparation that evolution never trained your brain to perform naturally. Financial researchers have repeatedly found that many people underestimate how long retirement savings must actually last. Planning for 10 years instead of 25 creates an enormous difference. Even small miscalculations become significant over decades. Then there is another expense few people expect: family. Adult children sometimes need temporary help during job loss, divorce, housing costs, education, or unexpected emergencies. Grandchildren may arrive. Aging parents may require additional care. Suddenly one generation becomes responsible for supporting another while simultaneously preparing for retirement. Why does saying no feel so difficult? Because your brain evolved inside close family groups where cooperation increased everyone's chance of survival. Helping relatives once directly protected shared survival. That instinct remains deeply powerful even when modern financial realities become more complicated. The challenge is not generosity itself. The challenge is giving away tomorrow's security to solve today's problems. Researchers studying financial behavior frequently find that emotions influence major money decisions far more than spreadsheets alone. Numbers rarely drive choices by themselves. Identity, belonging, fear, responsibility, and love often become the true decision makers. That explains another surprising retirement mistake. Many people continue spending as though every future paycheck is guaranteed, even after leaving full-time work. During a career, new income usually arrives every few weeks. Retirement changes that rhythm completely. Savings gradually become the replacement for future earnings. Every withdrawal quietly reduces what remains available later. Your brain, however, often struggles to feel that difference immediately because daily life continues looking almost identical. The grocery store stays the same, restaurants stay open, advertisements continue encouraging upgrades, online shopping never pauses simply because retirement begins. Modern consumer culture constantly signals that buying something improves life. Yet your ancient survival system still responds to those signals much like it responded to discovering valuable resources thousands of years ago. Your brain experiences novelty as rewarding. Dopamine encourages exploration and acquisition because that behavior once improved survival. Today, the same biological system easily becomes attached to purchases that provide only temporary satisfaction. Does that mean enjoying retirement requires avoiding every pleasure? Not at all. The real lesson is awareness. Understanding how your brain naturally approaches money allows you to notice hidden patterns before they quietly shape your future. Small habits repeated for decades usually matter far more than dramatic financial events. Every unnecessary recurring expense competes with future freedom. Every intentional decision quietly strengthens long-term security. Every moment spent questioning whether something is a genuine need or simply an adapted expectation helps protect the years ahead. Perhaps the greatest financial advantage is recognizing that your brain still carries instincts designed for a world that no longer exists. Your ancestors survived by focusing on immediate survival, sharing resources within close families, and adapting quickly to changing environments. Those instincts once kept human beings alive. Today, the same ancient survival mechanisms influence retirement planning, lifestyle expectations, family decisions, and everyday purchases in ways that are far less obvious. Your 60s do not become expensive because you suddenly forget how to manage money. They become expensive because your brain continues solving ancient problems inside a modern financial world that follows completely different rules. And every time you decide whether to upgrade, save, help someone financially, or delay a purchase, your brain is still relying on survival instincts shaped thousands of years before retirement ever existed.